What's up, everybody? This is a GE profile, the newer version of the Opal ice maker. GE bought them out. I had this ice maker for about a year and a half, so 6 months out of warranty, it decides to quit producing ice. It would run, you would get all the light indication there. You could hear the compressor turn on. No, none of the sides were blocked with getting air to cool it. It would run for about 15 minutes, and then this would turn amber, the light would, and then it would shut off. Didn't know what was wrong with it. All of the troubleshooting I've done online produced no results. So I decided, well, it's out of warranty. I'll try to get a new one from GE. Of course, as all of these big companies do, they will not support you, even though their product only lasted a year and a half. They conveniently put that year warranty on there, so you're out of luck. So I decided, well, I'll take it apart and see if there's anything in there that I can fix that is broken. So I took it apart, and I wish I'd have took a video along with this to show you, but I have an example of the broken part. So what it is, back here in the back, in the upper part, there's a cylinder that goes up and down in the very back. Inside the cylinder is a little worm gear, and then the worm gear spins in a circular motion just like this, and it scrapes the buildup of ice off of the inside of that cylinder, forcing it through about 9 holes at the very top. If you want to see the 9 holes, how it makes ice, check out my other video that's uploaded. I uploaded it right when I just got it fixed and put in a new input shaft. And you'll see how it makes ice, and how you won't be able to see this, the ice worm gear moving because it's underneath. But you can see how it will push that ice up as it freezes alongside. So what had happened is I turned it on with this lid off, and inside the lid there's a cover. You take the cover off, and then you can see down in the little cylinder that you'll see in my other video if it's producing ice or not. Well, I looked at it, water would just sit at the top of it, and nothing would move. So I thought, well, it's got to be something that's driving that ice worm gear. Sure enough, it wasn't moving, and down at the base, at the very bottom of the unit, right on top of the gearbox, there's a little output shaft that runs that worm gear on the other side of the seal to keep the water from leaking out. So what I found was this guy. So this is just a piece of regular steel. There used to be a shaft on the end of this. So in total, this thing was about 2.5 inches long, and it went up through the gearbox, and this square drive goes into that worm gear and turns it about that fast right there. I don't know, very, very slow, but enough to where it can move that about this speed right there and scrape that ice off and make you ice like it's making right now. But what had happened was, I guess here in our water, where we're at in Alabama, there's apparently there's a lot of calcium in it. So it built up calcium. I didn't know it, but I guess sometime during one night it built up enough calcium where it seized that worm gear inside of the cylinder and sheared this square drive off at the bottom of it. This has got a hole in it from me drilling it out just to get it out of the worm gear. Finally got it out. Let's see if I can get it in focus there. But this is probably about 1 inch long of this square drive of that output shaft that goes into that worm gear. So, me being the kind of guy that I am, a little cheap, I guess you could say, I just decided to go and buy a 6-inch piece of stainless 304 round bar. So I put it in my lathe. I pulled out, I had to take the whole thing apart, of course. I disassembled the cooling cylinder from the lower gearbox, and tied it up so it wouldn't leak, so that the copper hoses wouldn't pinch and I'd lose all my refrigerant. So I held that up out of the way, got the gearbox out, and the gearbox came out pretty easy. There's screws in it. It's very basic. It's just probably got I don't know, about 5 or 6 gears inside of it to take the little electric motor that spins back there to drive these gears, and through gear reduction it spins that one really slow. It gives a lot of torque, I guess. So I was able to pull that one gear out, use my hydraulic press the old output shaft out of the gear, and then I was stuck with a piece. I lost it. I don't know where the other part of it was, but it was about this long, or the broken piece was this long. This was connected to it at one time, but it sheared it off. So what I did is I cut about a 2.5 inch piece off of this. This used to be about 8 inches long. Cut a 2.5 inch piece off this stainless steel, and just made a new shaft, and then pressed it into the gear with my hydraulic press, put it back in the gearbox, put the gearbox and everything back together, turned it on, and check out my other video that I made regarding this, and you'll see that's right when I turned it on, and my son was standing there too. He was watching it, and he was learning how these Nugget ice makers work. But for those of you that have one of these and it won't work, but it looks electronically like it works perfect, like mine did, and you hear the compressor cut on, most likely you've got that buildup of calcium or some other type of mineral that has bound the worm gear up inside of that cooling cylinder, and it sheared that output shaft. So hopefully this helps somebody. If you got any questions about it, you can send me a message and I'll answer what I can. But I mean, essentially this is a $500 ice maker, and I don't know, I was mad and I didn't want to spend more money on another ice maker. It makes good ice when it does work, but now it's back to working again, and hopefully it'll keep working. My dog is being impatient, so. All right. Yeah, message me if you would like, and I'll answer any questions that you got regarding your Nugget ice maker.